Now on CoastTV News.
Rider warning, a rise in e-bike crashes in Ocean City and the one thing first responders say could save lives. Campaign clash, early voting begins with rising tensions between the Delaware House District 20 candidates. And a summer sizzle, the heat is on across Delmarva, what towns and businesses are doing to keep up.
This is CoastTV News at 11.
The Ocean City Fire Department is calling for safer habits on Coastal Highway. Good evening. I'm Christina DeRobertis. Welcome to CoastTV News at 11. Paramedics in the resort town say serious injuries from e-bike and scooter accidents are piling up. They tell us there's one common denominator, that people are not wearing helmets. The fire department says that needs to change. And they say even if you are wearing a helmet, it's still important to follow the rules of the road.
You are a vehicle on the roadway, and so you are required, and you should follow the same rules as any other vehicle on the roadway. Stopping at stoplights, stopping at stop signs, yielding the right of way, yielding right of way to pedestrians.
And there are currently no laws requiring people to wear helmets on e-bikes or scooters, but the Ocean City Fire Department says it's trying to change that at the local and state level. Staying in Ocean City, a piece of history in downtown OC is looking for some help. The Henry Hotel Foundation got multiple grants to rebuild the building's foundation. Ultimately, it wants to add an educational museum there at the corner of Division and South Baltimore Streets. The foundation's president now wants information from the community to bring the relic back to life.
We would love to hear from people who have history or information about the Henry Hotel. And they can contact me on the website. We want to find out the history of the Henry Hotel.
And workers hope to begin construction in the fall. The foundation is going to collaborate with University of Maryland Eastern Shore students to collect information of past guests of the Henry Hotel. Well, hot weather is once again on the horizon. Temperatures climbing into the 90s will be seen across the peninsula in the coming days. But the show must go on for one local auto shop, but they say they'll schedule a lighter workload and drink plenty of water in the days ahead. In Pittsville, the town manager says the hot weather has doubled their water use, and they're asking people to conserve water as temperatures climb. The Delaware State Fair still going strong, with some visitors there telling us how they're beating the heat.
Drink lots of water and just go in the barns and stay cool.
Drinking lots of fluids, going in the shade when we can.
As long as you keep your water and you keep hydrated, some Gatorade, you'll be okay.
That's right, you got to stay hydrated. And for those people in Pittsville looking for ideas on how to save water, the town manager says people should limit watering their lawns or washing their cars. Speaking of all this heat, let's take a live look into Lewis and turn things to our First Alert Chief Meteorologist, Paul Williams. Good evening, Paul.
Good evening, Christina. And so the bottom line here is this. We got back to normal heat for today, but now we're going to be concerned about extreme heat for Friday and possibly leaning into Saturday. But right now, this is normal stuff. We're not sounding the alarm just yet, but tomorrow, we pushed the button. 71, Salisbury, we're going to stay in the low 70s with clear skies. Traffic's looking pretty clear for right now. I mean, we warmed to 87 degrees. That's only one, and it's below, by the way, 1 degree away from the norm for this time of the year. So it wasn't awe-striking and awesome as far as the idea of dealing with the heat and humidity is concerned for today. Now, we're at 73 in Long Neck and Dagsboro and Georgetown. Dew point temperatures in the 60s. But as you begin to take a look, we have high pressures in control of our weather. But here's the bottom line. Heat advisory is in effect until Friday, but we're concerned about extreme heat throughout portions of the state. So here's the storyline. We're looking for steamy, isolated thunderstorms possibly for Friday, and for the weekend, heat and humidity will continue. We'll talk more about this in more detail in a moment. Till then, back to you, Christina.
Thank you, Paul. Well, campaign signs can be seen all over District 20 as the first of 10 early voting days is underway. People very eager to see who will be the new face of the district. It's Democrat Alana Berry up against Republican Nikki Miller. Miller is a former Cape Henlopen High School principal. She says education is at the core of her campaign. And Berry founded the Brian Allen Stevenson School of Excellence in Georgetown. She has experience in school funding and policy. We spoke with some people out voting today at Lewis Elementary School. Here's what they had to say.
I voted for Nikki Miller. I guess I was just a little frustrated with some of the problems we had with our last representative, and I understand there were some health issues, and that's fine. I understand that. I just wanted to go in a different direction.
Today I voted for Alona Berry, the Democratic candidate. I am a registered Democrat. I voted for her basically because I do believe in what the state legislature has been doing, and I want to continue to support their agenda.
And early voting continues tomorrow and Saturday from 7 to 7 at Mariner Middle School, also at Lewis Elementary School. There's no early voting Sunday, but then it continues each day until August 3rd. I know that might have been confusing, a lot of dates, a lot of times. You can find a full breakdown on CoastTV.com. And as this early voting begins, tensions are rising between the two District 20 candidates. Republican Nikki Miller is taking aim at Democrat Alona Berry's voting record, claiming Berry did not vote in this year's Cape Henlopen School Board election or either of the 2024 referendums. Berry says she was dealing with health issues at the time and argues her experience shows why access to voting needs to be stronger.
If you're not going to vote in the absolute most local election that you possibly can, and even if it's a referendum, life happens. Sometimes we miss things, but this is 3 very crucial things that should have been voted on.
The reality of where we are is life happens, medical emergencies happen, folks have job obligations, folks have to support their families and caregivers, and all of those things really create barriers for folks to be able to vote in our elections, both big and small.
And to be clear, early voting is not an option for school board elections or referendums, but absentee voting is an option. We'll go now to our Coast TV poll. We want to know what influences your vote. Looking at the results now, 33% say candidate experience, 4% say past voting record, 63% say party affiliation. No one today has said community support. Maybe that will be you. You can go over to CoastTV.com or use our mobile app to vote. Well, rapid growth in Sussex County has prompted the county to make a land use working group. They'll make recommendations to County Council for how things should be regulated. Coast TV reporter Brandon Ferguson shows us what happened at today's meeting, what it means for new development, and what's next.
Land use group originally drafted 22 recommendations. That number is now down to 17, and the group today was expected to go through each and every one of those recommendations, but they only made it through 8.
Today's meeting ended on a 50-minute discussion over road improvements in conjunction with new developments. Other recommendations include tree preservation in growth areas. 30% of a forest are to be protected. Outside of growth zones, 50% of a forest should be protected. Another is a countywide rezoning effort, following land use goals, infrastructure, and growth policies. Joe Pica has been to all 7 land use meetings so far and feels the group and the county are going opposite directions.
From the county, feel like it's half full, that they've made good progress, that they're getting close to wrapping things up. I think a lot of the members felt that there were issues that had not yet been resolved.
The next meeting for the land use group takes place on August 5th, and that is for land use group members to voice their opposition or support for each recommendation. And an August 21st meeting is happening after today's meeting did not go through all 17 recommendations. In Sussex County, Brandon Ferguson, Coast TV News.
Well, it's full steam ahead at the Wicomico Civic Center. Ongoing construction is shifting traffic and temporarily closing main entrances there. The box office and Normandy Arena doors are shut down for a $10 million renovation project that was announced earlier this year. Guests are now being directed to alternate entrances. Signage is in place to guide the way through the center's big facelift.
This project's about a $10 million investment, but we've also got about $5 million of other investments with a roof replacement. We're replacing the elevators, just replaced the escalators. So there's a lot that's happening at the building, and really appreciative of the elected officials that have supported this.
And the center remains open for events while construction continues into next year. Visitors are encouraged to plan ahead and watch for detours. Making national headlines tonight, police released hundreds of documents related to their investigation into Brian Kohberger, the convicted murderer of 4 University of Idaho students. As Sherelle Hubbard explains, some documents shed light on how former friends and fellow students described him.
Who is Brian Kohberger? The sister of one of his victims is sure she knows.
I will call you what you are. Sociopath, psychopath, murderer.
Now, the Moscow, Idaho Police Department is releasing a trove of records about their investigation, revealing details about the 30-year-old former criminology PhD student. A prisoner who was in a cell near Kohberger said he would wash his hands dozens of times a day, take very long showers, and stay awake all night. Authorities say they never found a connection between Kohberger and the 4 University of Idaho students.
Unfortunately, not in some cases, you'll never get that answer.
What is known is that Kohberger will be serving life in prison for the savage murders of the 4 students in 2022.
She was stabbed over 30 plus times, and she was struck.
Police say they never found a murder weapon. He'd wiped his devices before police could get evidence. There was no evidence he had a criminal history or predisposition, and he never gave a reason for committing the horrific murders.
I respectfully decline.
The fact that he wiped his devices clean shows that, that indicates some, like a criminal intent.
Even if we could get truthful insight into his why, I suspect it would not in any way quench one's thirst for actually understanding.
I'm Sherelle Hubbard reporting.
And we still have a lot more news to get into this evening. Coming up ahead, shrinking families. The U.S. fertility rate just hit a record low. What's behind the drop and how leaders are responding. But first, it's more than a treat. How a local ice cream shop is making an impact. Up next.
I've always been a fan of ice cream. Take a look at our Bay forecast. We're going to need some ice cream for tomorrow because Friday we're looking at 96 for the temperature, but it's going to feel like 110 or worse. We'll have more on your full forecast in 60 seconds.
Everyone loves ice cream in the summertime, and there are plenty of ice cream shops to be found on Delmarva. As CoastTV's Akia Jennings shows us, there's one in Rehoboth Beach that not only serves up flavorful treats, they also serve up life lessons as they hit their 1-year anniversary.
Rainbow sprinkles, one of the many toppings Tori Moore can put on your ice cream here at Uncle David's Ice Cream Shop. This shop's mission is simple: to support people with Down syndrome like Tori, Connor, and Davy.
I do the cake cashier. A part with it is that I like the hand out customer stuff for the scooping.
Uncle David's Ice Cream Shop is celebrating their 1-year anniversary in Rehoboth Beach, though they've been in the mobile order business since 2023. Jim Watson has been with the team for 3 years.
This started 20 years ago with a young man called David. His name was David. And with the Boardwalk Buddy Walk, just spreading awareness throughout the community.
Boardwalk Buddy Walk is an annual walk and serves as an opportunity to support and educate people about the Down syndrome community.
Welcome to Uncle David's Ice Cream Shop.
Watson's son, Connor Watson, has helped with Uncle David's Ice Cream Shop for years, taking orders, scooping ice cream, and taking care of warehouse inventory.
David is a great person, and I want to be more like him.
Watson says the focus of this shop in the last year has been growth.
By doing this, it builds confidence, they gain value.
Various items are sold at the shop. All proceeds made go towards supporting the mission. Manager Liz Pensa says compared to last season, the willingness to work and learn something new is unmatched.
Moving from one task to the other, whether that's they're on the register, going straight into scooping, they're bright and cheerful whenever they walk into the business, ready to start their day, ready to work.
Davey Frederick is just starting out with the team and works the register and scoops ice cream. Davey says his favorite task is
ice cream shop.
Because life is better with ice cream, a sprinkle of hope, a cherry on top, and a team committed to helping you thrive.
For Coastal Connections, I'm Zakia Jennings.
Plenty of sunshine for tomorrow, but be wary of the heat that shall accompany that sunshine and the humidity there as well. And then we have to watch out for a chance of spot showers just kind of flaring up over the weekend. But for tonight, we stay clear and we settle into the low 70s for the rest of the evening. Here's a look at the temperatures. We're at 74 in Milford, Redden, Milton, as well as Millsboro at this hour, holding at a warm 78 degrees in Bethany Beach and in Ocean City. Our muggy meter is about to start going crazy once again. We're in the very humid category for Friday, and we're going to tickle and go back and forth and oscillate between very humid to miserable from Friday on, okay? So here we go. A heat advisory is in effect for our area. We're bracing for dangerously high heat. It kicks in particularly right around basically 10 o'clock and will continue throughout the day until about 8 o'clock. Live radar, we are clear for right now, and we are looking at precipitation staying well to our north as high pressure acts as a dome of protection or a hedge from the rain coming in to come to our rescue to cool things off. We will stay in the frying pan and we will sizzle along. Sweltering, steamy conditions for Friday. And we're looking for humid, walky weekend with possibility of thunderstorm Saturday, but a better chance on Sunday. And 90s push on early going into next week. See, we're expecting for it to continue to stay with the temperatures in the 70s. Now, as you take a look at our expectation for our day part, we anticipate temperatures in the 90s for tomorrow with lots of sunshine with winds at about 8 miles per hour. You see, we stay steamy, winds out of the southeast, but 95 for the high in Georgetown, for example, and Lewis, by the way, 93 in Vienna and Fredericksburg, 92 for the high in Cambridge, and we anticipate a high of 92 in Berlin, Snow Hill, and Pocomoke City. But 103, that's where we're going to settle at the very least now for Friday afternoon. And then Saturday, we're not going to be short-stopping it by much. We do have a very marginal threat of any kind of scattered showers or thunderstorms for Friday evening, but we anticipate the heat being our primary concern as we go into Saturday and Sunday. That's when we'll watch out for chances of rain. In fact, speaking of that, you see, we're looking for maybe a widely scattered chance of rain, particularly on Sunday. Not an impressive opportunity for scattered showers, but it'll be there. But Sunday, by the evening time, we're looking for at least a decent dousing of rain. Dousing, not thunderstorms, not threat of severe weather, but a decent dousing that could slow traffic down a little bit going into Monday. By the way, our 100 Chincoteague pony swim going into next Wednesday, 90 degrees with mostly sunny skies. Finally, here's a look at your 7-day forecast. We anticipate scattered showers, particularly for Sunday, more so than Saturday, but it's still going to be hot for the next 7 days regardless.
All right, understood. Thank you, Paul. Oh, people who have tried the popular prebiotic beverage Poppy could be getting a payback. The drink's previous owner has settled a class action lawsuit that claimed the soda alternative was improperly marketed as, quote, gut healthy. Court records show the company did not admit to any sort of wrongdoing in the settlement, but it will refund nearly $9 million to the public. Columbia University announced it has reached a deal with the Trump administration. As Julia Benbrook reports, the university is agreeing to pay over $220 million to resolve several federal probes into allegations that it had violated anti-discrimination laws.
President Donald Trump is celebrating the agreement. In a social media post, he commended Columbia for, quote, doing what is right. But this settlement and Trump's broader push for policy change at universities does raise major questions about academic freedom and the role of the federal government on college campuses. Columbia did not admit wrongdoing, but under the terms of the deal to resolve several federal probes into allegations that it had violated anti-discrimination laws, it did agree to pay the government a $200 million settlement over 3 years and an additional $21 million to settle U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission investigations. The university says the agreement also codifies some policy changes announced in the spring. In exchange, the university said in a statement, a vast majority of the federal grants, which were terminated or paused in March 2025, will be reinstated, and Columbia's access to billions of dollars in current and future grants will be restored. In her first interview since the deal was announced, Columbia's acting president, Claire Shipman, framed the federal funding freeze as an existential threat to the university that needed to be resolved and defended the decision to strike a deal.
It doesn't cross the red lines that we laid out. It protects our academic integrity. That was, of course, essential to us. And two, it does reset our relationship with the federal government in terms of research funding. It's not just money for Columbia. I mean, this is about science. It's about curing cancer, the cutting edge, boundary breaking science that actually benefits the country and humanity. So that was essential.
While she highlighted that Trump was not personally involved in the negotiations that she was a part of, Shipman did suggest that he was keeping track of what was going on. At the White House, I'm Julia Benbrook.
Coming up in sports, the Phillies have a day off before a big series. We'll break down what to expect when they take on the Yankees.
Here's a look at your golf forecast as you're teeing it up for tomorrow. Keep in mind that we're looking for good conditions, but it's going to be good and hot, sweltering. Heat index between 103 to 108. Ouch.
This is CoastTV News at 11.
In health news tonight, we're talking about a disease that's often overlooked, osteoporosis. It weakens bones, causing them to be brittle and break easier. And in tonight's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither explains why men should focus on bone health.
As the temperatures rise, so does the risk of getting really sick from the hot sun.
It's hard for your body to actually sweat out that heat and to get rid of it. So you're at much higher risk of heat-related problems.
Dr. Ashley Brulette with Children's Healthcare of Atlanta says this time of year it's especially important to keep kids hydrated before, during, and after activities. She says if they're outside for under an hour, make sure they're drinking plenty of water. But if they're spending more than 60 minutes outdoors, she suggests supplementing with a sports drink.
And then also being mindful of what time of day we're doing activities. So doing things earlier in the morning, later at night, having shady breaks, things like that are going to be really important for monitoring long term.
If your child is an athlete, Brulette says to gradually introduce heat before outdoor practice to allow the body to acclimate to it, and be mindful of equipment and clothing that they're wearing.
Not overdressing, light layers, light colors, things like that will be helpful.
Knowing signs of heat-related illnesses is also important. The most severe sickness from the sun is heat stroke. Symptoms include confusion, irrational behavior, drowsiness, nausea, vomiting, and a high temperature of 104 degrees and above. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Well, clearly that was not about bone health, more about staying hydrated in the heat, but definitely good information to know heading into this heat wave hitting us here on Delmarva. By the way, get ready for one of the Eastern Shore's most iconic traditions, the Chincoteague Pony Swim. It's coming up next week, and you can watch live as the Saltwater Cowboys guide the wild ponies across the Assateague Channel to Chincoteague Island. Coverage begins at 7 a.m. this Wednesday on DSN and anywhere on DSN Plus. Don't miss the tradition, the excitement, the magic of the pony swim, only on DSN.
Delmarva Sports Network from the Wawa Studios.
It's been a pretty light day in Major League Baseball. Only a third of the league is in action today, and notably absent is the Phillies, but that's probably for the best, as they've got a big series against the Yankees coming up this weekend. In the 1 week of play since the All-Star break, Philadelphia has 6 straight games of up and down play. So here's the good. The Phillies lead Major League Baseball with 13 home runs over that span. Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber have been a big part of that, with 4 dingers apiece. And you want another impressive number from Philadelphia? Its pitching staff has tallied 74 strikeouts since the All-Star game, which is 8 more than any other team in the majors. Now to the bat. The Phillies are just 3-3 this week and have fallen a half game behind the Mets in the NL East. So why is that? Well, their bats have been effective, but not always at the right time. Philadelphia has left 33 base runners stranded over the last 6 games. That's a higher total than the runs the Phillies have scored. And what about pitching? 74 strikeouts is great and all, but it's a bit misleading. Philadelphia's ERA is below average over the last week. Long story short, the Phillies have the numbers, but need to turn them into wins against the Yankees. That's it for sports. Have a great night.
Lots of fun at the Delaware State Fair tonight. It concluded with fireworks this evening, and the fireworks show was after a concert by country artist Russell Dickerson after the Governor's Day at the fair. The fair runs through Saturday there in Harrington.
Wonderful. Let's take a look at Salisbury and Tidal Health. 71 degrees. We'll drop and stay in the low 70s with mostly clear skies. Our mosquito meter is going to be extreme for tomorrow and going into Saturday because it's going to be so humid, and then we'll stay humid even for Sunday. So look at 3 straight days of extreme problems with mosquitoes, courtesy of Active Pest Solutions. Our umbrella winner is Athena Vagalatos of Milford. Congratulations, courtesy of Paul Davis Restoration Home Remodeling. You can catch up with your forecast by calling our weather line, 443-880-9100. Your forecast is just a call away, sponsored by the law offices of Bruckstead, Mandalis, and Federico. Finally, here's a look at your exclusive 10-day forecast. Heat advisory in effect for Friday. Cannot stress that enough. Saturday, it's going to be pretty hot as well. And then watching out for a chance of thunderstorms for Sunday. Next Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, I'm going to give you a spoiler alert. Probably going to be under a heat advisory most of those 3 days, 2 out of 3 at the very least, until we cool down next Friday.
All right, hot, hot, hot. Thank you, Paul, and thanks for joining us for Coast TV News at 11 tonight. If you're looking for some more local news and local weather, you can download our Coast TV News app, and you can join us again tomorrow for Coast TV News at 5 a.m. The Tonight Show's next. Have a great night.